it is quite garbage and the system here is completely outdated. Germany is definitely not the place. Hello zusammen, hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope that you guys are all doing well, and first and foremost I want to wish you a very happy new year, and I just know it's going to be a good year. I'm very excited, and I also wanted to put a little disclaimer out here that if I sound congested or weird in any way, shape, or form, that's because I've been really sick for the last 2 weeks and a half. It's been quite brutal, but I'm coming at the end of it. I see light at the end of the tunnel, and I am just hyped to make this video for you today. Today I'm going to be sharing some of the reasons why you should not move to Germany and why Germany may just not be the right country for you. I often talk about all of the reasons why I love Germany, why it's been such a great move for myself. I have been here for the last 7 years. I moved from Canada to Germany. In case this is your first time clicking on one of my videos, I moved here to work and I live in Berlin and I absolutely love it. I think it's a really great place for me and I have no regrets about my move, but I want to be honest with you and share with you some of the reasons why it may not be the right country for you if you are thinking about moving abroad. So I do hope that you find this helpful, and let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So starting off, let's talk about the weather. I know weather is never an exciting topic, but I feel like I have to be completely honest with you and let you know that the weather in Germany is shit the majority of the year. I would say like 6, 7, 8 months out of the year, half of the year at least, it is quite garbage. And if you are someone that gets easily affected by the weather, if you suffer from seasonal depression, or if you come from a very warm climate and you're not used to cloudy gray skies or just cold weather in general, this may not be the country for you. Now for me, for instance, it isn't too much of a shock because I come from Canada where our winters are extremely cold, but something that does affect me quite a lot is the lack of sun. I live in Berlin, and the majority of the winter time, which is pretty much from the end of October to the beginning of March, is quite cloudy. I recently had my mom come and visit and she was very shocked about how cloudy it is. It was her first time being here in the winter time, and the sun just doesn't peek out very often, and when it does, it's like the angels are singing and it's like the most glorious thing in the world. But truthfully, it is not like that the majority of the year. So I would definitely advise against Germany as a country if you are very worried about the weather and the effects that it may have on you. Number 2 has to be the language. If you are not interested in learning a new language, or if you are considering a move to a more traditional part of Germany, let's say Bavaria, cities like Munich, or maybe a smaller town where German is required, then this will be a difficult transition for you, to be completely honest. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible. If you have the right motivation, if you want to really make this happen for yourself, then I have no doubt that you can. But a lot of people do have a lot of difficulty with the language. I am quite lucky in the sense that I live in a city where I can easily get by with English, and I have been very lucky to be able to do that for the last 7 years of living here, which is absolutely amazing. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say that it's easy every single day. There are times where German is required and frustrations build up with the language. And that's not to say that I am not learning the language or making an effort to learn the language, but it definitely takes time. German is not the easiest language in the sense that there's a lot of grammar rules, a lot of technicalities, so it does require a lot of dedication on your end to learn the language. And it's also not such an easy language compared to, let's say, the romantic languages like French and Spanish. So that's just something to keep in mind. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, and there's definitely a lot of major cities where you can get by with English quite easily, just like I have. But it can, again, create some frustrations throughout the day. Number 3 is something that's not commonly talked about, and it is the preferences for living in bigger spaces, especially in the major cities. You will have to get used to living in smaller spaces, smaller flats, and usually pay a premium for these flats if you want to just be in the middle of the city or quite centrally located. I remember this was quite a shock for me coming from America, coming from Canada, where I'm used to having, you know, big roads, a big car, a big fridge, a washer and dryer setup. And when I moved here, I moved into a much smaller space where my fridge is 1/3 of the size of what I had back home. And I don't have a dryer, things like this that may seem quite silly to a lot of people, but they are shocking if you are moving to a new country. So if your idea of success, let's say, is having, you know, that American dream lifestyle of a massive house, multiple cars, big driveway, multiple bedrooms, then you may have a bit of a reality check when you move here, especially in the major cities. It also means that if you want those things, of course, it's achievable in Germany, but you'll probably have to move to the outskirts, suburbs of the city, and pay a premium, of course, for that. So it's just give and take depending on what you want, but that's something that I definitely had to mention. So these types of shirts are all fun and games until you raise your hands and then you're kind of just stuck. So let me just adjust myself quickly here. Because they do look cute, but damn, they're not practical at all. I also, of course, have to mention the bureaucracy and the bureaucratic process here in Germany, which is absolutely tedious and annoying. There's no way to sugarcoat this whatsoever, and I really think that a lot of people would agree with me on this one. Germany just doesn't make it easy, and the system here is completely outdated. A lot of things that have been automated or can easily be done online in many other countries, it's just not possible here. Like one of the most typical things would be when you move to a new flat, you have to register your apartment, and you need this documentation in order to get your life started here, pretty much in order to, let's say, open a bank account, in order to sign a phone contract, an internet contract. This piece of paper that you receive when you register is very, very important. However, in many cities, it is extremely difficult to find an appointment because you cannot do this online. You have to go ahead and book an appointment and then wait a few months in order to go to the office and hand in your paperwork. So a lot of things here are very much paper-based. My brother-in-law actually made this observation recently when he visited us, and he was quite shocked to see that there's a lot of stores for photocopying and printing out documents and paperwork, and truthfully, these are just not very common things back home in Canada, and something I just completely got used to now that I've been living here for so long. But yeah, I rely on going to these stores quite often to print out things and make photocopies just because the system is so outdated here. So if that sounds like too much for you, then Germany is definitely not the place. And the other thing I wanted to talk about, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for this, I know my Germans are gonna hate me for this and probably are not gonna agree with this, but if you have very specific cultural preferences for, let's say, spicy food or just not so bland food, I'm sorry, German food traditionally is quite bland compared to the rest of the world, then you will have a harder time with this. Now, if you're living in a major city like Berlin, like Hamburg, Cologne, then you'll be able to find ingredients for the types of foods that you like to make. But traditionally, German food is quite bland. It's very meat and potato based. So if you're not really into that, that can be quite of a shock. And a lot of foreigners and expats do complain that there's just not enough spice, not enough things going on in the food here. So those are the reasons, and if you are interested in moving here, I have a bunch of other videos that are way more positive on why Germany may be the country for you, so I'll definitely make sure to leave them down below, or feel free to check them out on my channel. And also, if you are interested in working here and moving here, I have courses and ebooks that you can check out to help you make this a much easier easier move for you and just save you a lot of time when it comes to this process. But thank you so much for watching. Let me know what types of videos you want to see on my channel, and if you are new here, please don't forget to hit subscribe, and I will talk to you all in my next one. Tschüss!